All right, guys. When I'm doing an update on on a phone, I like to show you the cameras, and it's on Android Pie right now. And this is what the cameras look like. I'm looking through the viewfinder, and it actually looks pretty decent. Samsung cameras in the past have been known for not having the best quality front cameras compared to other phones. But this is the front camera, so I wanted to start the video off like this by showing you the front camera. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So the Galaxy Note 9 running Android Pie, I've been in that beta since it launched, and the phone has been actually really good. But is it enough to make people switch from iOS or stock Android over to Samsung full time? Samsung's UI gets a lot of heat sometimes for being too heavy and too bloated with things. I've seen people comment in videos before saying that all those extra features packed in there don't really mean much, and that it actually slows the phone down. Well, I have the 6 gig version of the Galaxy Note 9 running on Android Pie, and it's actually been pretty decent. I haven't had any issues with software or anything like that, and I personally do not mind the Android experience on a Samsung device. But the Samsung phones, especially the Galaxy Note 9, does have a little bit of added features with the S Pen, and Android Pie can take it over the top. However, I think a lot of people have trouble with Samsung software is because it does feel like bloat still. It feels like they're just renaming the original Samsung naming of the experience. It's now Samsung Experience. It was TouchWiz. It's still known to be just a better version of TouchWiz by some people in the community. But the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 is actually a fantastic phone, and the fact that you have those added features in there, it can do the phone some justice, and it could possibly make someone really switch over to using a Samsung phone full time. There are a lot of people out there that use a Galaxy Note, whether it's the 8, the 7, the 654, whatever it is. There's no 6. Whichever Galaxy Note you have, you're just a Galaxy Note fan if you in fact use a Galaxy Note. And I think that's something that people that don't use a Galaxy Note or don't use a Samsung device probably don't understand. Using a Samsung device for me since launch, I've been using Samsung phones since they first started to produce them. And I really thought that Tizen OS was going to take off and be the one for Samsung that they actually use, but they decided to stick with Android because the App Store is just so big with Android and you can get so much more on there. And to me, without Samsung, Android really wouldn't have taken off the way it did. If you remember back in the day, they battled back and forth with Apple about who had the design first and how Samsung phones actually changed after the iPhone came out in 2007. Well, I do kind of agree with that. Phones before the iPhone were kind of PDAs, and you had they were resistive screens. So you had this stylus that you can use, and there was a lot of keyboard phones back then. There were just a lot of Windows phones that just were really bad to use, actually. But you fast forward to today, and Samsung has taken Android to a new level. Now, while I pretty much still prefer stock Android because it just flows along so much better, the Galaxy Note 9 is probably the best offering from Samsung at the moment. Now, I know you have the S9 Plus, but the S9 10 or the S10 is on the way, and the S10 Lite and the S10 Plus, those are all on the way, and so that'll give us some glimpse of what the Galaxy Note 10 should be like. Now, I'm really hoping that Samsung does not take away the headphone jack. There's renders out there of them keeping the headphone jack, but again, until it actually happens, we don't know. And the Galaxy Note 9 won't be out until the later part of 2019, so we'll have to wait for that. Until then, I'll be using the Galaxy Note 9 as one of my devices, and I have plenty of devices in my catalog, but the Note 9 is a device that's very enjoyable to use. When I use the Note 9, it gets me used to using a big phone again, because this is probably one of the bigger phones that I have in my selection of devices, but it still has the same size screen as a lot of the other phones that I have. The 6.4-inch display is beautiful with Super AMOLED. It's a Quad HD display. There's a lot to like about the Galaxy Note 9, and in fact, I named this phone my top phone of the year for 2018. The previous year, I didn't make the Galaxy Note 8 the top phone of the year for a lot of reasons, but I think that the Galaxy Note 9 is a phone that if you haven't tried it yet, you really should try it out. I think it's really enjoyable. It is a big phone. Even though I have very large hands, this still is a big phone, so that doesn't mean that I enjoy using big phones all the time. I still keep a lot of small phones around, and the fact that I do have phones like the OnePlus that is the same size screen, but it's a lot smaller in size, makes me enjoy the Galaxy Note sometimes when I use it. But the OnePlus feels better in the hand. It's rounded. It's just a much better feeling hand than the Galaxy Note 9. And I'm hoping that with the Galaxy Note 10, that they capitalize on that and shrink it down just a little bit, because we know that it can be done. And we know that they can still have this large screen, sometimes probably even larger, depending on where you put your camera module in the screen. And you'll need to do a rear-mounted fingerprint reader or an in-screen fingerprint reader. I used to say that I hope phones move forward to that technology because that is the future of the devices. However, after using the Galaxy Note 9 with the fingerprint reader in the correct position, I'm okay with them putting it on the back again. And that's the honest truth. So if they don't put it in the screen, I think I'll be fine with it, because in-screen fingerprint readers, all of them are not that fast. I have several phones that have an in-screen, I've used several phones that have an in-screen fingerprint reader, and they're all function a little different. The Mi 8 Pro has a really fast fingerprint reader, but so does the OnePlus 6T. And then the other phone that I had was the Vivo Next. That phone was really nice with the in-screen fingerprint reader, but it wasn't really a blazing fast fingerprint reader. So the Galaxy Note 9, the way it sits right now, I could probably use this phone for years to come. But the way technology changes, we know that Samsung is going to bring a Galaxy Note 10, and I'm really hoping that Samsung really capitalizes with the S Pen software. The S Suite, for me, I use just a few functions of it, and I really get the best of that. But sometimes I ask myself, is it really worth what I spent? And the answer is always going to be no, because I have so many other phones out there that cost less that I can do the same thing with. However, to top that off, or to push me over to the level to say, I've heard some people say that this is the $1,000 phone that you should buy. And I somewhat agree with what they're saying. Now currently I'm using a skin on the back, the skin from Slick Wraps, and then I have the Rinky protective case on here and a white stone dome glass. The white stone dome glass for me is just the ultimate tempered glass for any phone that it's offered for, and that's kind of a huge drawback on the OnePlus. It doesn't have a white stone dome glass yet. The white stone dome glass would do the OnePlus device really nice, or just any phone that could get a white stone dome would be really nice. But this is my setup on the Galaxy Note 9, and I think Android Pie on the Galaxy Note 9, the software is not that much different. They're saying kind of it's more of a stock feel, but it's really not. The icon pack that's on here, the stock icon pack, you can pretty much customize this phone still without purchasing Nova Launcher or any of that. And I've obviously purchased Nova Launcher years ago when it first came out. But you can still customize Samsung phones without buying anything. But the problem with that is that a lot of the things in their store cost a lot of money. They charge $1 for a wallpaper, up to $5 for some wallpapers and some themes, which I don't think that's worth it. And I know the developers of those things want to capitalize on it and make funding, and I respect that, but I just choose not to buy them. And if you're buying font, I've learned that with Samsung devices, I've purchased fonts, plenty of fonts from the Samsung store, but if you download them try to download them more than 10 times, it tells you have to repurchase, and that's a huge fail for me, and I really was upset about that. I found this out a long time ago. This isn't something new that I'm just discovering, but I found that out the hard way. You know, I had multiple Samsung phones, and all of my themes and all that, they would show up, but my font, it's in my purchase section, but when I try to download it, it tells me I have to buy it again. And I didn't like that. But the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 is a big phone. And some people say, well, Jay, it doesn't look big in your hands. Well, obviously I'm a big guy. I got bigger hands, so it might look a little smaller, but I do like big phones. And I think with the credit to the Galaxy Note 9, it got me used to getting back on the game with my iPhone XS Max. Now, iPhone XS Max is kind of a boring phone after a day or so for me, so I end up switching back over to the OnePlus 6T and sometimes the Galaxy Note. But I do use the Pixel because the Pixel is my small phone. That's the bang-em-up phone that I really enjoy. The Galaxy Note 9 is a device that I think people should try. If you don't like Samsung phones, because I've learned that there's a lot of people out there that do not like Samsung phones, they don't like Samsung software, and they feel like the software will become laggy after a while. I can't stress it enough that I think that lag factor has died off since the Galaxy S9, possibly even the Galaxy S8 came about. This phone does not slow down for me, and I've got a ton of apps on here. I've got it loaded up, and I'm just giving you my experience. Your experience is going to be different. But in my experience with this phone, there's no lag at all. So if you're a person who's wanting to try a big Samsung phone, I would tell you to, if you find this for a deal, and I would tell you to pick this over the Galaxy S9 Plus, because this is going to give you just a kind of a different experience, and you do get that extra feature of the S Pen, and I think that will probably please you a lot once you start to use it. But overall, if you want to save some money, you would want to go with the S9 line. But I would tell you definitely, if you're wanting to try Samsung and you're not afraid to have a very large device, I'm going to tell you to grab the Galaxy Note 9 because it's actually really, really sweet. Cameras on here are just, I shouldn't even have to say it, but you know, the limits that they have for 4K recording, I don't like that. However, when you record in 4K at 60 FPS, it's absolutely stunning, and it's something that you'll get used to and start to enjoy. As a matter of fact, I do a lot of vlogs because I can control the cameras with the S Pen for the Bluetooth functionality. So what I'll do is I'll just put it up on a tripod like I have my DSLR right here, pull out the S Pen and hit remote start with the button, and it'll start recording the video. That way, if I'm on the go or something like that, I don't have to edit the video too much if I wanted to do a quick shoot and upload to YouTube, which I frequently do those. So the Galaxy Note 9 in 2019 should be able to maintain a steady level of people enjoying it for those that actually have it. But some people do not want to spend $1,000 on a phone, whether they're financing it or not. And I understand a lot of you guys have gotten this phone on a deal. Well, I was an early adapter, so I'm not mad about that because the phone is actually really awesome. And that's why it made it to the #1 spot for me in 2018. Can it hold on to that spot in 2019? I don't believe so, because value starts to play a part with me as a consumer and a tech reviewer, because when you're buying a bunch of devices for review, if you're a reviewer and just being honest, you're going to want some return when you're doing the videos on these things. You're going to want to have a way to fund your channel when you're purchasing these things. You don't want to purchase a $1,000 phone and only make 10 bucks off it. That's me being 100% real. So as a consumer though, I want to look for the best deal. And right now, even with the discounts and getting the phone for 800 bucks or so, I personally think this phone should top out at about $750 or so. To me, it's totally worth it at that because you're getting really bang them up when you start to compete against other phones in that price range. But they're going to price it higher because they're offering more. So that's why the phone is going to continue to go up in price. And I don't foresee the Galaxy Note 10 being any less than this one. The best thing they can do for the Galaxy Note 10 is release it at $999 like they did this phone at launch, and then work out some deals for you, because when the Galaxy Note 10 comes out, you're going to officially really be able to get a Galaxy Note 9 at a great cost. And they always have those trade-in promos where they give you $500-600 for your trade-in, and then you're really winning, especially if you only paid $500 to $800 for the Galaxy Note 9. Software-wise, I think a lot of people should try it and use it for a while. I know there's a lot of iPhone users out there, and I know there's a lot of stock Android users out there, but you got to try something to experience for at least a month and put your other phone down if you can and really give it a go. And I know that's difficult for a lot of people because you'd have to buy it unless you can find some kind of trade. Oh, T-Mobile offers like this trade-in thing, right? I think they do. I think they still do that, where you can just buy it and, you know, use it and then trade back in, you know, later on, I believe. I'm pretty sure they still offer that. I don't do that, but because most of my phones are unlocked. But yeah, but that will be a way for you to do it. And I believe other companies do it too. I'm not sure, but the Galaxy Note 9, folks, is definitely a phone that you should consider if you want a Samsung phone. This is, to me, probably their best offering at the moment, and that's just my personal opinion. But if you have a Galaxy Note 9, I need you to sound off in the comments and point out your pros and cons with your Galaxy Note 9. It can't always just be pros with this phone. And I've learned that people who have a device, they love to tell you all the good things about it, but they don't want to hear anything bad about it. So I've pointed out all my pros and cons on this plenty of times, but I think there's going to be a different way that people express their feelings about it depending on who you are and who's holding the phone. So it's your man Jay Will. It's 2019, and it is the Galaxy Note 9's time to shine if you want a Samsung device. Really push home this phone for me. I really like it. I labeled it my best phone in my catalog for a number of reasons, because I do run a website, and this is the phone that I go to when I want to really bang out a long article for the website and take photos and edit and do all these things right on the phone. I really appreciate this phone. And that S Pen, I can't lie, it really helps. So it's your man Jay Will. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.